would you trim your beard?
I don't know what's bothering me.
Yeah. Uh, I I think now's a good time to begin working on the Stripe integration for payroll and the allocation of funds for uh, carrier transaction. So that's where I'm at in my status.
Cool. Why'd you choose Stripe over other options?
Uh, I think we discussed the topic. What was it? Probably like 4 months ago.
Hmm.
We were talking about. I think there was Stripe. I think Amazon had their own solution. It was more of my lack of patience that I just didn't feel like combing through all the different solutions, and I just want to get this done.
That's good enough reason as any.
Yeah,
We can
I
always
mean,
change it, but
if I'm smart, I can create a abstract enough interface where Stripe is just the implementation details, and I can just swap it out later if I find cost savings or something like that later on. But for the sake of just getting this done, stamping this on my resume of Stripe integration, which I think has value in regards to hourly rate and specialization, I think it's a satisfactory move right now.
yeah, it'll definitely put you an edge up if you're getting into any SaaS-based products, especially like with recurring revenue or um, e-commerce type things. So
Yeah. Uh, so so this week I'm gonna try to get this Stripe integration working specifically for transactions dealing with the courier going to the pickup location and then putting funds on their card, and then they swipe the card that's issued to them, and then once it gets delivered, I'll trigger another service to actually um, execute the transaction of the actual customer's bank card and figure out all the math for who gets what in regards to money, courier, the business, etc.
cool.
Uh, this thing is dragging out. Could you imagine? And there's probably a whole bunch of different perspectives or points to take into consideration. Could you imagine yourself an employer hiring like a team of 5 developers to accomplish the same thing, and potentially, I mean, let's be real, given your budget, and given that the majority of maybe founders or managers have no deep technical background, can you imagine the amount of frustration you would probably have if you're being held accountable by stakeholders for delivering a project and you have like 3/4 juniors and maybe one or two seniors, and the whole microservice architecture interpretation, if it's even necessary, and the amount of time that it would take to get people coordinated to be able to deliver something like this. Now I'm saying this is my first time doing it, so obviously there's lessons learned, but I can only imagine the amount of frustration when having a team of people that never built an e-commerce platform doing the same thing, and just the the amount of money that just gets thrown into a well, never ever to come back.
That's why I think people when they're building out products like this, the entrepreneurial way is to do really MVP and focus on things that don't scale. So I don't think that if you were coming to me as a like me personally as a early startup person and being like, hey, I want to validate this idea or get going, my first inclination wouldn't be I'll make you a microservice architecture. It would probably be I'll build you a monolith.
Yeah.
um, and I will do it as fast as possible for as cheap as I can because they don't need scale right now. And if they do find that there's product market fit and all that stuff, and they can actually make money off of it, they'll get funding and then they'll hire the devs to pick apart. Now that doesn't mean that that monolith would be
Throwaway.
throwaway necessarily. It might stick around for a little while, and it wouldn't be that it would be written poorly. You might think about, well, make sure put proper abstractions between things that I think might be external later, um, whatever, and you could go that route. So put a little thought into somebody might have to break this up in the future. How would they do it? What could I do now to make it easy for them? That's not going to add a lot of time, but I wouldn't. I mean, that would be like probably the future would be would be, and thinking about scaling would probably be at the back of my mind because it's just not needed when you're in an early stage. You need it
Yeah.
when you need scale.
Uh,
Yeah.
I think I would manage it kind of like NASA. Uh, I would probably have one developer per project, and developers really don't know that much about each other. Why should they? And I'll kind of go with I'm going to butcher this word, compartmentalize or compartmentalization philosophy of, all right, developer A, I need you to build a self sustained system for GPS tracking. I need you to be able to, in regards to the acceptance criteria, I need you to demo tracking uh, a, a courier that travels to different pickup locations and then to the final destination, and basically places a status message of when he or she is completed. That's your job. You need to integrate with Google Maps, figure out how to do that, and when in a week you can tell me what your roadmap is for delivering that to me. Then I'll just set that person on their journey, and then I'll take another person completely siloed and say, all right, I need you to build me a system that integrates with Stripe, in which I need two things from you. I need you to build a system that accommodates for payroll services when someone wants to cash out, and also need you to, whether it's an independent system or not, I don't know, you're the professional. Also, integrate with Stripe, where people can perform transactions with a card if they want to buy something. So I need you to handle that, figure it out. And then the other person, siloed from everybody else, is you're responsible for building a system that provides reporting, right? I want to know the transactions for daily, weekly, monthly. I want to know, you need to take into consideration not only the transactions that were completed successfully, but also the transactions that were canceled, whether they were canceled by the courier or canceled by the customer. And I would just have it siloed like that. It almost guarantees that everything's going to be loosely coupled, if not decoupled completely. And then once all that stuff is working in isolation flawlessly, then I can make a decision on who or what team is responsible for aggregating all this together. That's the way I would do it, man. Because I feel like if you have a team that's going to be doing all that, and the projects that I work on, stupid people just delegate arbitrary tasks, and nothing is really focused on individual domains. They just, here, Scott, you take this one. Here, Scott, you take that, or here, John, you take that one. And they're just working across a whole bunch of different domain spaces. I think that's a recipe for disaster and a horrible architecture, more than likely, if someone really isn't mature and has things thought out. So,
Yeah, I wonder if that's the reason why mob programming is taking off like it is, or people are finding success in it, is because when you have split up tasks like that, like you said, everybody's jumping around. Even if the bounded context is like if you're in the same context, people are jumping around different areas that they might never have worked on if it's too big, and you're basically taking that, the application, and if everybody works on everything together, then you've got, one, you get shared experience, but everybody gets the same view of the model and understands why things were done a certain way, or understands, um, the assumptions you made at certain times and things like that. So it's like having a single developer working on it, but but you know, but you have multiples. Um, the more you talk about it, yeah, the more I think like having one developer working on one chunk of code that's independent, where they can have, a complete picture of what's going on in their mind, and know exactly how to change it to add new functionality, or how difficult things are going to be. They don't have to go discover what some other person did, is probably the right way to go with teams. But
well, I think they're being held accountable for the maintainability of what they deliver. And I really, almost everybody disagrees with me, but I believe when someone owns something, they behave a lot differently than when they share something.
well,
People disagree with me on that so hard because it goes against the spirit of agile, quote unquote. But
I think ownership is part of agile. I don't.
a lot of people claim that agile means that, I won't say mean. A lot of people are under the assumption that within agile, it's team, 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 rah, 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 and anybody can step in and make updates because the team owns the project and they're responsible for the success. And my argument is, when you have shared responsibility, usually no individual is held accountable. And I mean, I think we still have the same issue. So a lot of people push back and say that that goes against the spirit of agile because everybody should be responsible for quality, but that's just not the case in reality.
What's funny is that not once in the Agile Manifesto is team listed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
there's not any mention of it at all.
how many
Um,
Scrum Masters haven't even seen the Agile Manifesto?
Probably enough, or they don't read the principles.
Yeah, I think
Um,
it was like 12 bullet points or something.
yeah. Oh no, there is teams. Sorry, it's the very last one. At regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective. But that's a very small subnote in a total thing.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah. I don't. I don't. Yeah, I don't think that's right. I mean, the whole point of doing that is finding more effective ways of developing software, right? And to even just shut it down and being, well, that's not in the spirit. To not even try an approach is definitely not agile by any means. Um, I hated it when we were trying to evolve our process to be, like, I was with one Scrum Master person, and we were trying to evolve to work a different way, where we focus less on doing, traditional Scrum by the book stuff, and we switched our sprints to be 1 week, where we would kind of like replan every week. but we also did kind of more constant planning with more Kanban style stuff. So there was, I don't know, there was a mix in there of things. And we still had some of the ceremonies like every couple weeks, but then we had somebody come, they swapped people into our team and were like, no, this is not how Scrum is supposed to be done. You need to do it like this so you can. And I'm like, I know the theory behind how you do this and how you calculate velocity and all that, but we've never once calculated velocity for the purposes of planning, really. And and honestly, like this lets us get more work done continually because we don't have this big micro waterfall where the developers do a bunch of work at the start of it and the SQEs QA people are doing it at the end. Um, and then we have a bunch of work that we pick up and go over. Like if we just keep a continual flow based on what's important in the backlog, our SQE people keep busy, our developers keep busy. There's never any, thumb fiddling. There's a lot less waste, really. Um, I really, I'm not a huge fan anymore of 2 week sprints to try to be like time boxed and use it for estimation purposes and stuff like that. I'd rather just keep continuous flow, and then maybe you would do a 2 week. Here's what we've done the last 2 weeks, like a retrospective type thing, and then make more adjustments and stuff. But or maybe I just never worked on a team Scrum team that's really doing it effectively. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Um, I would like to shadow Microsoft for a sprint to see, because I think, what are they on 3 week sprints where they deliver stuff at least into preview or something?
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
thought
I
they
know
were.
that Visual Studio Code, like they have new stuff coming out every month, pretty much.
Uh,
But
yeah, it's always been the QA aspect that has always, like, I don't know, challenged me. Like, how do you box this so that the acceptance criteria is met, especially in regards to QA providing their blessings on it? Because usually I just consume the entire amount of time, and then within the last 2 days, here QA, and of course they're gonna find some issues, right?
yeah,
So
because that's what they do.
yeah, I don't think it probably is thought out. It's just I'm not aware of the solution, and I haven't really searched adamantly for that solution.
Yeah, well, I don't think there's a solution that fits everyone, right? It's got to be something where you look at yourself and evolve yourself and find out what works and do more of that, and find out what doesn't work and do less of it. But people want nice,
Oh shoot!
easy. Oh,
Let
did
me
I?
pause this. I had YouTube streaming the F Sharp conference, so they had came back on. My bad.
Oh no, it's all right.
Uh,
I thought I had cut out again because
nah.
I'm on this laptop again. So, which is possible I could cut out, um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I do what was I saying? Do more of what you're good at. Do less of what you're not good at, and or that drags you down. And people just they want nice, easy processes that they can explain to people, and that's what their job is to explain the process. And if they're not there to explain the process, then then they don't have a job. So they
Hmm.
protect it.
The whole argument about people trying to remain relevant.
Yeah, pretty much. Speaking of being irrelevant,
So how's your bowling kata? How's that going along?
I haven't worked on it. I've
Uh,
been I have pretty much any time that I get that's free that I'm not doing some sort of gaming for relaxation is I'm looking at job boards and trying to find out what I'm going to do.
so you're pretty serious about exploring other opportunities, huh?
Yeah, I've spent like 3 4 resumes, but I'm being really picky right now, and um I've got I think one that responded with like a no thank you so far. The rest I haven't heard from, but I don't know. I'm looking at all the job postings and I'm just like, I need to probably up my skills again. Even though I mean I've been doing .NET Core and Vue, which should be somewhat in demand, but when you pair it with remote, it's a little bit tricky. Um, but yeah, I haven't really got any interview requests or anything back yet.
All
I'm sure
right.
if I just blasted to every possible job,
The
I'd
the
get something. But
consequence if you blast it to every single job is you're going to start getting inundated with Indian recruiters. Like that's what's going to happen. Um, they have call centers established in New Jersey, California, and now I'm starting to get calls from New York. Right, that's where they established their offices in, and so like three or four of them that work at the same office are going to call you for the same job, right, per job. And so then you're going to have like 500 blocked recruiters on your phone. And you look at your call log, you just see block, 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 block with a whole bunch of New Jersey numbers and California numbers.
it wouldn't be any different than the calls I get every day about healthcare 2020 and my car's extended warranty. So
Okay.
the which I get pretty much all the time. Uh, so I barely ever answer my phone anymore. I'll just wait for a voicemail and
Whenever
just
I
leave it
see
for it.
a phone call with my area code of 440, which is the eastern suburbs of Cleveland, I don't answer because I know it's 99.9% chance it's a robocall.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't matter where it's from. If it's in any part of anywhere, it's probably a robocall for me. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't had much luck. And I would probably only submit resumes through, to kind of reputable job postings and stuff. Not so much. I don't know. Actually, I mean, I've got all my stuff on Indeed and LinkedIn and Angel Co and all that, or Angel List and all that. So I don't. If somebody wanted to find my info and start hammering me, I'm pretty sure they could.
Yeah.
I don't know how you got on the list.
Uh, the job boards, Career Builder, um, has a pretty nice automated way of submitting jobs where they have like easy apply where you apply for one job and then they'll find similar jobs in that city and you just say yeah, apply to all, click, and so you can literally like apply to 30, 40 jobs within like 30 seconds. But then behind the scenes they automatically take your contact information and and you start getting these spam emails from all these different job boards that are outside of Career Builder, and then you
Hmm.
start getting a whole bunch of phone calls. And hold on one second, you get a whole bunch of phone calls, and I gotta maybe move it over here. And so it's just the cost of I lost my train of thought. It's just the cost of using a tool to spam your resume, and then you get spam in return.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I get a fair amount of emails from like between LinkedIn and uh, ZipRecruiter is probably the worst of them so far. Um, but I don't know. The but I don't mind those too much. Um, I keep getting the same like repeated one where it's like you look like a good fit for this company. And I've got it from like three or four
LinkedIn.
different job boards. Huh?
And then you have those specific shops that are always hiring because they have a high turnover rate.
Yeah. I really hate. I've got some big pet peeves about job boards now. One of them is like I posted earlier is that now that well, first job boards themselves, remote isn't always a first class citizen. So like it's like you search and sometimes people are entering in remote Oregon, which is the name of a city in Oregon that
Okay.
probably is probably the number one most searched city to work in as a tech person, I'm guessing. Um, but then, so then there's that, but then, so it's not treated like a first class citizen. And then people that are now in the COVID situation, um, posting jobs that are remote
Until
until
uh,
until this is all over, then it's 100% in the shop. It's like, don't advertise yourself as remote if you're not really remote. It's advertise yourself as this with mandatory work from home until this is over. And
and
then,
I'm like, okay, I'll take the remote, and then as soon as they say, all right, you need to move over here, I'm like, no, I'm straight. Are you really gonna fire me? Well, if you do, that's your decision.
yeah, I would. Yeah, they'd probably ask me up front in the interview, and I wouldn't lie to them. I'd be like, no, I have no interest in working, relocating. And then the third thing that I really hate now is that jobs board or like companies or maybe the software that they use will, let's say, will post the same exact job to all major cities, like as their location. So it's this New York, this Boston, this blah blah blah, this Seattle, this Los Angeles, this
Oh,
Denver, this.
that's
So,
misleading.
well, it's. I think what they're doing is that they want people who search, "Hey, I'm looking for jobs in the Denver area," to find them, or I'm looking for jobs in the New York area to find them, even though they're remote. So it's kind of like almost inverted from the way that they from the remote thing. So there's like three, four problems with job boards that'd be, be great to solve. Like just make it if somebody's searching for this city, make it so that my post gets found, even though I'm remote. I don't know.
I wonder if doctors and nurses and lawyers have to go through the same thing we have to go through when seeking new clients.
Nurses, yeah, doctors probably. Well, and they're not. Nurses aren't really. Their nurses are a lot more like us than doctors and lawyers are.
Mm.
Um, Regular accountants probably are too, but there's certain
I,
high-powered CPAs that are more like doctors and lawyers.
I would imagine that, and this is my ignorance, that it would be easy to get a job being a nurse. Or no, do you still have to vet? Are there still bad nurses overwhelmingly, like
Well,
bad
I think
programmers?
there's bad nurses. My I think there maybe it's a location thing. Sometimes my sister-in-law is a nurse and she's trying to find a job in the local area that pays well enough, better than the traveling nursing she's doing right now, and she's having a hard time with that. But it's just the problem with living, I think, rural. If she was in a city or whatever, she'd probably be able to find something. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I probably need to start working on my talent stack again outside of work, though.
Do
I'm
you?
noticing with these job boards that I'm getting stale
You
on things. I think.
you don't have any I don't know. Well, ever since I had that issue last week, my brain's not working the same. You don't have any aspirations for going into management or anything like that, or just having a side hustle?
Well, I wouldn't mind having a side hustle if I could figure out what I'd want to do there, and I had the time to work on it. Most frustrating thing about doing anything on the side is that you sit down and try to do some concentrated work for a little bit, and you get interrupted
You should be
constantly with the family.
a e league commentator, or or you could be like So I'm into UFC, like mixed martial
Mm.
arts, and I feel like there's like probably 100 different YouTube channels that just talk about UFC. You can have a YouTube channel that talks about your League of Legends or whatever it's called.
Yeah, there's a number of those. I could get into that and streaming and stuff like that. But again, it's a time thing. The ramp up time to get that stuff going to where it would be profitable is it's a long tail like thing. Um, and I don't know, just it's difficult to keep going with family. Now that doesn't mean it's impossible. It's just I'm, I'd have to really be committed.
Has
It's
your
hard when
brother-in-law been able to open up his shop again, the video game store?
yeah, yeah, he opened it up a few weeks ago. He wasn't supposed to, I think, open it really until this week, but or no, because he's a specialty retailer. They finally opened up restaurants to outdoor seating in Minnesota, but you know, I don't know. They should just open everything now. Like people, if it is not open, are just rioting to get in. So I don't know.
I I'm still trying to find motorcycle training up here, and all that stuff is closed. I have no transportation, man. And it's been taking a toll on me forever. Like, I'm so used to being free, and I'm up here in Mississauga, which is like 45 minutes outside of Toronto. I'm just stuck in a residential suburbia. So, anyways, uh, you finished your table?
Nah, I haven't. I haven't been. Like I said, I've been focusing on the job board searching and getting all that stuff up. And like I said, I gotta find some projects or something to work on the side just to kind of like last time when I was getting into the right before I was gonna get into job posting. Man, I was going nuts with. I was doing conference talks and or maybe that was right after really, but like I was building out little side projects and stuff like that. Just the I don't know.
I don't know. I was gonna say, like, you're not exhausted from the rat race. Like,
What do you mean?
you're gonna learn a new skill. That skill's going to be deprecated in like 3 years. There's going to be something else hot. Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't bother you. The
No, it
the return
does.
on investment is, it's not like being a DBA where like once you learn it, that's, if we're talking about relational, you're set for like 15 years. Like, this stuff is just, uh, I'm tired of it. I'm glad I'm not a web developer, but I think I would always have a job if I were a web developer, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah. I mean, most of the jobs that are on this stuff, man, are like it's pretty hard to find a like a remote .NET position. Just a few scan postings. It's not as hard to find as something doing React um, front end development or actually
Oh boy, same thing happened last week. As I wait for you to come back online, I'll probably repeat myself. What I'm going to say is, I actually forgot what I was going to say. More than likely, you'll probably come back in like another 30 seconds. Meanwhile, I'll look at my Stripe documentation. Uh, hell, maybe I'll even. Oh, mm, you back?
yeah
Hi
yeah I
there.
don't have a laptop. I got my desktop set up back down here again, but or get a way to plug into Ethernet down here.
No, I
That's
was asking,
reliable.
You ever get tired of this rat race of learning new tech just for it to be like deprecated in like 3 years or whatever?
Yeah, yeah. Anyways, like I was saying, PHP has actually come up a number of job postings that I found as Laravel. I have never heard of it, but it's basically just a web framework. I'm guessing it's like a Rails type situation when you're talking about Ruby on Rails or uh, Python to Django or PHP Laravel.
Wasn't it Facebook written in PHP?
Yeah, at the start, anyways.
Uh,
So there's still I'm just surprised there's still actually a lot of PHP jobs around open, at least in the I think in the fringy game area or in the game side of things.
I think it's just
Um,
hella cheap uh, between the tech and the developers. Um, yeah.
well, it's been a while since I wrote PHP in college, but like I learned it back then. uh, I don't know, but yeah, I don't. It's going slow. This kind of thing, this job search, and I
Have
don't
you
know.
considered just uh, leveling up and instead of applying to be a web developer, apply to be like an architect?
I don't know. I don't want to give a false impression. I've been trying to steer away from anything with architect or team lead type stuff in it because I don't know. I don't have confidence that I'm good at those kinds of things. Um,
The people that are quote unquote architects, a lot of them are good. It doesn't matter.
yeah, I suppose I could. I'm sure if I was looking for strictly a like um, a larger shop type thing, and probably more in like the spaces that I've been in, which so far have been distribution and manufacturing. Um, if I was looking for positions in those areas, I'm sure I could find something pretty quick, which is what these job boards keep telling me. Like, are you sure you don't want to do this job? Because it's very similar to jobs you've had in the past. I'm like, no, I want to work on something totally different. Damn it. I want to work for a software company is I think what I'll reduce it to. Like their primary product is software. Their primary thing that they're producing is a service that's built on software. It's not like, we distribute widgets and we need software to help do that, or we manufacture widgets and we need software to do that. Now I want to work on something like we're building this automated system to do this, and that's what our value proposition is.
I would love to work on with the Call of Duty team. Of course, I won't be able to keep up with them, but like, and maybe you could relate with your League of Legends. But man, when they release like a new patch, I think like every couple of months, and like so much of the game changes every single time they do it because they have like new levels and new guns and they fix all these bugs. I really want to understand what their architecture is and what their philosophy is. I know that they probably have like 100 developers, but like the way that the cadence of how they crank out new features and with the amount of change that those features have in them, it's just amazing that they can consistently, as big as that code base is, keep pushing new features on a regular cadence.
Yeah, I don't think that the code itself is very much really. If you think, I mean, there's lots of code there, but because every time you talk about that, you're talking about content. It's like saying how could this like medium keep pushing out posts every month? Um, you know, or people keep publishing posts. Most of the stuff that they do there is they've built up these tools that have a pipeline for content creators to get their content into the game. So if you're a level designer, you have probably a bunch of assets and stuff to work with. So you design a Call of Duty level, you build it out using a editor, and you go that route. But stuff like guns, I mean, think of that as a content piece, really. Um, there's probably a class that they have that describes a gun, and it's and then describes a projectile, rate of fire, um, and stuff like that. And all they have to do is animate the reload animations and uh, you know uh, build out the model for the gun, and that's pretty much all they have to do. And that's all content. It's not actual code. I'm sure they're
Okay.
fixing bugs,
I mean,
though, and because code does have bugs, but
but Call of Duty is really a whole bunch of games within one game, right? You still have online, which is a whole bunch of online games within the online category, and then you have the campaign. Like
well,
they
yeah, but
probably
like,
have 20 games all in that one like medium.
but it's all scripted though. Like a lot of that stuff is just built off a scripting engine. So, take like the have you played the gun game at all? And I'm not sure that they have it
Are
in.
we calling about Call of Duty? What are we talking about?
Well, I think Call of Duty picked this up, but like the gun game is where you start with like the bottom tier gun and you work your way up to the top tier gun, and then you have to throw a grenade or a knife or something like that. And that you're trying to, it's kind of like a King of the Hill type situation.
Okay.
Um,
I don't think so. But okay.
but I mean, so
'Cause
that
the whole part of the game is to upgrade, like especially in the campaign, right? You start with something like mediocre, and then as you start going, advancing more and more levels, you get more and more tech.
no, this was a specialized mode, but so
Okay.
maybe it wouldn't relate to you. Like the zombie mode, if you've ever played that,
Yeah.
stuff like that. A lot of that stuff's just, it's just modes where they take pre-existing assets and then they script out a particular set of rules you have to follow. But the gun game, I was in a, well, sort of in a, I was never really an official member, but I was, I would frequent this Counter Strike group called 4HM back in the day, and that somebody in that group invented the gun game in Counter Strike, and they just the first thing they did is, I guess they were playing the game and they kind of manually did it where everybody would just kind of on the honor system only build up when they get the next gun. But then somebody actually spent the time and just wrote a really simple Lua script to, not simple, I mean, but wrote a Lua script to make it happen. And now that mode's been involved in a lot of different games, but it's just like scripting different game modes is probably not as difficult as you'd think. So it's just use the pre-made assets, set up rules about how the game is supposed to be played, and express those in a script, and script enforces it. So yeah.
We have planned for next week.
My daughter's birthday tomorrow. Um, no, I don't really have much planned other than I gotta start hitting these job postings and get maybe lower my expectations a little bit.
Sounds like you quit
Quit what?
your, your current job.
No, I haven't quit it. I just, like, in my mind, maybe I have. I mean, I'm still doing work, but
Like mentally, I have.
yeah, I'm starting to kind of like just back off from responsibility, and I don't know. I just want to move on to the next thing. It'll be 4 years on that on the 13th. So next Saturday will be 4 years with this current job, current gig. And I just want to move on to something else, do something different, maybe try to get excited about what I'm doing again.
You you can pass me your resume and toss me a cover letter uh, that identifies your relationship with me, and also the the fields that you've specialized, the domains that you specialized in, and then I can forward that to my employer.
Um, yeah, I don't know. What
This
are
is
you?
this is this focuses on government contracts for emergency response. So, like mass shootings, bomb blasts, pandemics, anything that is uh, I can't say the word catastrophic, that the government needs to respond to. Those are the type of software projects that my employer works on.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, obviously, I'm a mobile, but I mean, everything is web, right? So, if you're interested, I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe if I get to the to that point where I'm like,
I-
I really got to move on.
I'll send you a link on Skype real fast so you can review it. It's something like this. Maybe I should test it out before I send you the link. Hold up. Yeah, yeah, that's it. All right, so let me hit enter, and then you could decide what you want to do. But
Do you actually that's a good thing when you apply for stuff, do you generally include cover letters?
I don't know. But if it's short answer is no. But if I know somebody that is working somewhere and I already have that relationship, but their employer doesn't know me at all, then I think that there's a higher probability of me getting that job if one, they already know me, and then two, I emphasize my skill set and how I can help. Right? I don't want to write a cover letter that doesn't get read. But
Hmm.
if there's someone already there that what's that word? That validates me, then I think it's worth putting in the 20 minutes because you know that with a high with a high probability that they're going to look at your resume because someone already validates you at the company, and it's a way of introducing yourself and your personality to try to like accelerate that process. So that's my viewpoint.
Hmm.
But no, when I'm applying for jobs, if I quote unquote attach a cover letter, I use my cover letter literally says Xamarin, comma, Azure, comma, DevOps. And that's it. I don't say, hi, I want to help you. I think we were doing, no, I had like three bullet points of technologies. I just hit send.
Just in case there's a scanner for them or what.
Um, kind of, yeah.
Wonder if you could think of something really inventive to put in your cover letter, like I don't know, like a coin or something that you write. I don't know, not a coin, but like a I don't
Maybe
know.
a cover video would probably be a lot better.
Yeah, yeah. Just include a YouTube link in it. And you get click off. Hi, I'm Sean, and I'm gonna help you create better software for your organization.
I've had a, there's a, I think I still
Yeah.
have the app. I think it's called Spark Hire. They send you, there's an app where they send you questions and you have like a time window to respond.
Hmm.
And then they look at your video response. I thought it was cool. Uh, I'll actually use it if I were hiring people. Yeah, it's called Spark Hire. That's the name of the app. And I think it's good because I mean anything to try to gauge the BS that some people have. So
I actually, it's funny. I saw a job post listing yesterday. Um, this is kind of unrelated, but uh, I looked at the company's logo. It's a complete rip off of the Slack logo.
oh yeah,
Oh man,
must be a
man,
Chinese company.
that could be. Um, what jobs? I don't know if you'd spend a lot of time on job boards, but like, so far I've been using like Angel Co. or AngelList, and then LinkedIn, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, and then Hitmarker, which is like a gaming one. Are there any other big ones that you've used?
I would recommend. I mean, I've never got a job there, but I would recommend Stack Overflow.
Oh yeah, yeah, Stack Overflow. I've looked at that too.
Do you have a solid reputation on Stack Overflow?
I think so.
Are you over 5,000 or over 3,000?
I'm 4,670 right now.
Okay, yeah.
I'm in the top 8%. Is what it says, but it's most of that is because I hopped on the Electron bandwagon really, really early on, and I answered like every post I could find, and I got some of those really key early posts where like they're the simple questions, but everybody is looking them up constantly.
Hmm.
So like I have a score of like 394 in Electron, and um, let me see my top. What is my top one? Answers. My top, my top one is Atom Electron. Close the window with JavaScript. There's 131 ups for that.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I would recommend Stack Overflow. Um. Oh, and also for remote jobs, uh, how do I do this? I usually type in F sharp jobs on Google, and then no, that's not it. How do I do this? No, I type in F sharp remote jobs. Hold up, give me a second. Remote jobs. Do I type in pound sharp remote jobs? I used to Google something and immediately like on Google uh provides a good enough interface where I could like timeline it to like the last 3 days or the last 7 days. And I've actually got hired off of there. But I'm trying to, for whatever reason, when I'm typing it in, it's not doing it right now. Hold on, let me do Haskell jobs. Oh, I know why, because I'm in Canada. Haskell jobs USA. Okay. So like on Google, I'll type in like whatever skill, then jobs. And because I'm in Canada, I have to type in USA. And Google provides uh, kind of a really nice search result in which you could filter on past 3 day or the time duration of when the job was posted, stuff like that. And I've got hired off of that as well.
yeah, I've seen those. So it's like the blue heading with jobs
Yeah,
on it. Yeah, I've
yeah.
seen that pop up a few times.
So I think I usually do like if I type in Haskell remote jobs. Yeah, so you type in whatever skill set and then remote jobs.
Hmm.
You probably don't have to type in USA, and then you'll see. I like doing that.
Yeah. I've noticed like I tried the F sharp one that definitely didn't pop up, but if I just put in software
Yeah,
engineer jobs remote, that picked up.
I'll put in Xamarin. Which man, I swear to God, the the market rate keeps dropping. Now they're like, "Oh, Scott, we have a wonderful opportunity for you. Xamarin developer requires 8 years of experience in Xamarin and 10 years of experience in microservices and 20 years of experience in Azure. $60 an hour, corp to corp." Wait, what the? And I'm getting more and more of rates like that, and I'm like, I just block them, man. That's like that's insulting, and I hope that the market really isn't dropping like that.
Well, don't you have to get on to what is it, the new formulation of Xamarin soon?
New formulation. You talking about Maui?
Yeah, Maui.
Man, I think that thing's gonna be dead on arrival.
I thought that was basically just a rebranding of Xamarin.
Um, they.
Because I
I'm
mean,
not sure. They're introducing their interpretation of model view update, which a lot of people, or a significant number of people, saying that's not
not
model
model
view
view update. Yeah,
update.
I
why
read
are
some
you
articles on that.
why are you confusing you're confusing the community, and you're trying to say that this is model view update so that you could be cool, and this isn't that pattern. I don't know. I haven't really dug into it, but I just remember them trying to push universal Windows platform. That was dead on arrival. I think this is going to be dead on arrival too.
Yeah. UWP wasn't that bad, but
I'm not saying that it was bad. I'm
yeah.
saying it's dead on arrival by definition. WPF isn't bad. I love WPF.
Yeah.
Regardless of how good it is, desktops are pretty much hospital rooms, factory floors. Like it's hard to make an argument for desktops if you're not in one of those types of environments. So, and it
Yep.
sucks because I'm a WPF developer, right? But you just have to acknowledge the
Time for you to become a
deployments.
React developer, and you'll have all sorts of jobs, man.
Honestly, if I had time, I would probably consume a presidential library of Blazor books, and that would be my bread and butter for the next probably 8 years. But I'm too busy trying to get this failed startup at least tested, and that's where I'm going right now. I would really do Blazor.
I don't know. Have you seen any job postings for Blazor at all? Or does like
No, because I haven't been looking, but Microsoft, unlike F Sharp and unlike other things, they are pushing Blazor hard.
yeah, I think they're
Right.
pushing it for it'll probably have some minor success in enterprise app development, right? Where you already have a .NET enterprise, like a .NET shop within some other big enterprise or whatever, and you're building some internal tooling or whatever. So, you know, giving the inventory page or app for your product team or whatever internally. You're not going to see. I don't think you'll see much Blazor external to a large corp. I mean that seems like its sweet spot because you'd have to you'd have to almost control the network for it to work really well. It seems like, anyways. I don't know. Maybe I haven't, but a lot of the .NET developers I follow are just they're like, Blazor's cool as hell. It looks cool. It'd be great to use it, but uh, they're just not really falling into it. So I don't see it taking off like mad. Um,
I do. But obviously, I don't see it taking off probably until another 24 months.
yeah, I suppose maybe
I
one
mean, because
more.
you have to take into consideration the stages of adoption.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it's definitely an early adopter phase right now.
uh, let's say 30. Hi, Ramen. We're wrapping up. I don't know if there's anything else you want to ask or say, but Sean and I are about to hop off. You can't be hopping on here when we're getting off. All right, you're late to the party. So,
Man,
mm,
I gotta get a haircut too. One of these days, my wife would be happy.
I want to get some corn rolls.
I should get some. How do you get dreadlocks? How does that? I've always
You have,
wondered.
you have to be black.
There's there's white women that have dreadlocks, right? Or is that just like a cultural appropriation thing that you can't really do unless you're black?
No, I mean I've seen like white hipsters try to pull
I
it
don't
off.
really want dreadlocks, by the way. I just wonder how are they actually made?
So
As if you would know.
one is I think you're asking the wrong person, but
Yeah.
two is uh, like the black texture of hair, right? The derogatory term would be nappy, but the texture is clumpy,
Hmm.
and so you're able to like mold your hair into a certain shape a lot easier than an Asian would or a white person would, because usually white people and Asians, their hair just grows straight and that's it. With black people, it's clumpy, and
Hmm.
so I don't think you really have to add that much stuff to accomplish that. But for people that are dreadlock challenged, they probably would have to buy certain oils or whatever in order to get their hair to stick together to do what they want.
Gotcha. So it's like a is it so it's kind of clumpy, but then do you just kind of like over time, well, like you said, I don't know why you would know. So I don't know. I have no experience with it, and I've asked this to like other people, and I don't know.
I mean,
No one knows how dreadlocks are made.
I
I
could
gotta just
Google
watch
it.
a video on it.
I could Google it real fast, but more than likely,
No, I could.
they probably take some hair oil and just, if they have long hair, they just isolate specific blocks or patches of their hair and they just twist it up and it just stays for the most part. Which is easier when you have African ethnicity compared to other. So why did I literally type in Google on Google?
Here's the YouTube video I found. Can white people have dreadlocks?
How?
Settling the feuds. Funny.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna get dreadlocks. I probably should just cut my hair so I look less
you can
like
get
I'm balding.
you can get braids.
I'll get cornrows. I should do that.
I used to have braids when I was in college. Uh, of course, some people argue that that might accelerate the nail pattern balding.
Yeah, I don't think I need any help with that. I've when I do have my hair cut, I can tell I'm starting to thin out like right in here, and I'm like, ugh, god damn it, it's hitting me. So, all right, well, I suppose no point in dragging this on anymore.
I'm depressed now. All right. Well,
Maybe next week I'll have like 10 job offers and a bunch of interviews.
they need to have a hair pill like they have a Viagra pill. I'll just pop it in and then I can regrow my hair. I think there's an episode on The Simpsons where like whoa, what was his name? What's Bart's dad's name?
Homer,
Homer had regrew his hair and his life was like amazing again. So anyway, I'm getting delirious. All right, okay.
something to know about hair though. They did a study, and men who are bald, um, they're considered or believed to be more powerful. They're perceived to be more powerful in general, but less attractive than men with hair. So there's a trade-off, I
I could
guess.
see that.
Yeah, which explains why I think actually, if you look at a lot of like CEO type figures and stuff like that, and maybe this is where it comes from. But there's a lot of bald executives, like high-powered executives. A lot of them are bald.
Yeah.
It's but so I think that's where maybe the power bit comes in.
Well, you say power. I'm not sure. Like the combination of a suit with a bald head just fits the stereotype of a professional,
Yeah,
especially if you're middle age. If you're middle age or older and you have a suit with a bald head, if it just fits the stereotype of your industry professional, right?
yeah, and you're in some position of power.
Now,
So
when you have a full head of hair and you're younger and you're wearing a suit, I always think about marketing or sales. Right, that's the first stereotype my brain comes up with.
yeah, and if you're balding, slightly overweight, and you're not in a suit, then you're a software
You're a programmer.
then you're a software engineer that's soon going to be unemployed and unhireable. So,
I'm depressed now. Yeah.
well, you're lucky, man. All you need to do is put on a suit, and you'll look like you're an executive.
Oh,
You already got the bald thing going on.
that's true. Always, whenever I have interviews, and you'll probably go through the same thing, is do I take off the beard?
I'm
Right?
never gonna take off
And,
my beard.
and I get stressed out. And I'm like, "Good, I'm 18 years into my career. I ain't taking off ish. They need to accept my skills, right? But like, I don't know, man. People care about presentation.
Yeah, I don't think I've been babyface shaved since man. Gosh, when would the last time have been? It's got to have been at least 17 years, maybe. I don't know. It's been a long time.
Before
So
we hop off, Roman, are you a programmer? What do you do? I'm just curious before I hop off of here. And knowing
is he
him,
still on?
he probably has this in the background. He's probably like eating or something. I don't know. I'll tap out in 15 seconds if he doesn't say anything.
I'm just gonna Google his name.
What do you think? It sounds European, right?
He might be a pro cycler. I don't know. Gambler, hard. Oh, software engineer, blogger, fun. Switzerland, South Korea.
Switzerland and South Korea.
I wonder if he does these drawings himself or if he's just reposting.
It's a developer. No googling.
Already too late, Roman. I already found you on Twitter.
So I assume he's European and not Asian.
Switzerland, South Korea. I would guess so.
Hey, yeah, no Asian is going to be named Roman.
I wonder how many Romans were named Roman.
Racist comment. I wonder how many Latin people are named Jesus.
None. They're named Jesus.
Jesus, and then there's a lot of Middle Easterners that are named Muhammad. So
Yeah, that's
I had
a lot.
I had an Uber driver. His name was Jesus, and he had tattoos everywhere. And I'm like, why did your parents name you that, man? I mean, I didn't tell him that, but yeah, he says yes, European. Okay. All right. Oh, you could tell by what we're talking about now that we're getting ready to get off. So hop off. I shouldn't say get off. Okay.
Yeah, you said that a couple times before. You're like, you can't just get on here when we're getting off. Like, okay, Scott. Some nice words to use.
On that note, it's been real.
Yep. Talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye. See ya. Bye, Roman. See ya.